Hello my fellow aviators and my beloved mechanics. Welcome to another video on my channel. And on this one it's going to be about the open letter that I've just written to our FAA Administrator, Chris Rushlow. And as our new administrator, I would like to ask him for change. But first of all, I would like to answer one of the many comments that I got on the last video on FAA Checkrides-Snake Eyes-You Lose. One gentleman wrote in and he said that as soon as he saw a bottle of Chianti, that he just decided he disliked my whole argument right then and there. Who doesn't like Chianti? What does hating red wine have to do about FAA check rides?
Monster!
You and your Chianti. I hate red wine. Ah!
Yes, I would like to just say, you're a monster! So with that being said, I would like to just comment that since I've been doing this for about 4 years now, I get very few, if any at all, questions on the content. Usually they're making fun of my captain's uniform, which I've earned over decades. Or they're talking about my voice, which is the voice of a 12-year-old little girl going through puberty. It is. Way God made me. So be it. But it's never about the issues. So just like with this clown with the Chianti, I can kind of assume that he makes his wife, his partner, livestock. We don't judge here. But I can tell it's just straight missionary, and there isn't even a turn your head and cough moment. With that being said, let's move on. But, please, haters, distractors, my beloved trolls, please comment on the content, not my personal shortcomings, which are many. So with that being said, I'd like to move on to this open letter to our FAA Administrator. And in it, you can download it at aviatorsmarket.com, and just search Riter, and it will come right up. And in this letter, I address him. Dear Mr. Rushlow, I have been a CFI for 30 years. During this time, I ran a flight school using my own airplanes. The FAA check ride process of using designated pilot examiners has become corrupted and vile. We are harming our young kids that we give check rides to. The wait times for check rides are now anywhere from months up to a year. The costs have gone up from $1,000 to $2,500 per check ride. The retesting fees have gone up to $700 to $1,000 for a 6-minute flight, for a 12-minute flight, for a 30-minute flight. This is unacceptable. Then we have the big flight schools in the process of buying DPs, flying them in, as long as they give them a 95% pass rate on their students, many of which are foreign students, which I have had the honor of teaching for years, for decades. Their English is right at the limits, and they are very difficult students. And all of a sudden we're seeing a 95% pass rate at schools that once had a 50% pass rate. Why is that? How can that be? This is not to mention that DPEs break aircraft during their check rides, and even loss of control issues which threaten the lives of our students. The local FAA FSDO employees jump in at a whim and manipulate the pass-fail rates of our students. So your student may be well prepared, trained, ready to get his license, and because the FAA is demanding a certain failure rate of a DPE, that kid is failed. Now that creates great harm to that student, that young pilot. And now since the FAA check rides are being held against these young pilots, you have 3 FAA check ride failures on your record. Airlines aren't touching you. Corporate flight departments are throwing your application in the trash can. And maybe one is valid. Okay, hey, you go up and you fly around the pattern for 6 minutes. Big deal. Why is that being used to harm and destroy our young pilots? Nobody seems to want to answer that question. Now, I want to change that. I want to talk to the FAA Administrator. I want Chris to put out a public policy from the FAA barring future employers from using the check ride process to penalize our young pilots. It's not fair. These are young kids taking a test that they've never even seen before. I mean, when they go to the DMV office to get their driver's license, they've been sitting there watching their parents drive for 16, 17 years. Now we throw them in the cockpit of an airplane, and within 6 months to a year, all of a sudden they're taking a check ride. And a check ride that no other industry really imposes on their students. One face-to-face with a grizzly old examiner. They do their best to make it, comfortable for the student, but there's only so much they can do. So they haven't slept the night before. They're nervous as all get out. They're being tested in an unfamiliar manner, face-to-face, which is something that we don't even see until we get to the graduate level in college. That we don't even see in other professions unless it's like the medical boards, after a young man or woman has gone through 7 years of college and university training. This is completely unfair. I humbly request that the FAA discontinue the DPE system for conducting check rides. The CFIs are currently responsible for everything except the check ride. What's more important? The sign off for solo flight when the kid is nowhere near the standards of getting a private pilot license, or a DPE coming out and in 2 to 4 hours signing the kid off after he meets all the standards to be a pilot. This is completely unfair. The CFIs should be able to do the check rides. Not the same CFI, as many of you have commented, that's not fair. An independent CFI that doesn't know the kid, just come in and do the check ride, make it fair. So I'm asking that you would do that. Just to do this would be so simple. We'd only have to change the FARs, I believe it's 61.195, and just add in doing check rides. So this would allow a CFI with 2 years experience, over 200 hours of dual given, to do a check ride. And I suggest that the FAA moves away from this policy of being a law enforcement agency. Us pilots and aircraft mechanics are the safest people on the planet. We're the most law-abiding community that there is on the planet. Why should we have a law enforcement agency coming after us? And if you look at the things that the FAA finds against us, it's all hyped up charges on made-up FARs to just come after us. And many of the FARs are just there so the FAA has something to do. You can see here with this patch, just silly rules. So that's another topic for another day. But I asked Chris Rushlow to turn the FAA into something that it should be, something we want it to be. An agency that gives us guidance, that mentors its pilots and mechanics, that is there to help us. Not some wannabe mall cops chasing us around the tarmac to try to give us some bogus fine for $15,000 for not having a tag on his seatbelt, not having radios on the compass correction card. This is just stupid and harmful. And this is an aviation that will not serve us going into the future. So therefore, I asked Chris to turn the ship around, to do right action. I'd ask that Chris join me in doing public talks. We could have Chris Rushlow come out around the country, give talks on the various issues facing aviation. This is just one of them. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And as I hate to tell the FAA and the NTSB, but I'm just getting started. I have 30 years of this crap to unload on them, and right now I have about 100 articles to do. And every time I turn around, there's another topic coming up, getting thrown in my face. So I asked Chris Rushlow if you would join me and come out and talk face to face with us pilots, with us aircraft mechanics in the maintenance hangars, on the tarmacs at the airports, and give us his feedback. I don't think there's anybody that's ever talked to the FAA Administrator. I can't think of a time when he even talked to a pilot or an aircraft mechanic. So with that being said, I would like to say God bless, keep flying speed, and peace. Oh, and one more thing for the guy that doesn't like Chianti or red wine. I think I'm going to tell all the single cat ladies that you don't like red wine.
Hello, we're here to talk to this lady about someone not liking Chianti, not liking red wine. Here she is.
Yeah, this is exactly how it's going to work out. With that, take care.